You guys ever hear of Mayim Shal? Mashalo Mayim Chayim. Well.
Wow.
And so Mayim Sha'ovim, right? That if you can't go to the mixer, that there's that someone who comes the majority of Shabbos, we're doing this week, and it's Rabbi Shimon, and he said, "Dam, no blood came out. How is it possible? Lu Yitzuar, right? No blood came out. It's still kosher, and not only is it kosher, you don't even have to wash your hands. Quick, you give a lot with Bays, but I believe more than Bays Hillel, and they made 18 gezeras that day. But I could be wrong, so I'm bliming.
You need a Mishnayos. You can look in the Rabbi Ovadia and Bartanura.
כן, זה אפילו במשנייס אתה אומר. כן, צודק. אתה צודק שזה אפילו שהם מזכירים את זה במשנה, the 18. No, stay. Very serious. Yeah, the Mishnah doesn't mention all of them.
Just
exactly.
I'm here on Yud Gimel. I'm an Aleph.
On Bays.
Okay.
All right.
In the Mishnah?
Yeah, you could, about the Shmona Asar Davar.
Where? Okay. I'm looking for it.
So, Kulam Tumos Sheni Lituma. They all become a Sheni Lituma from those Gezeras. The Gezerah was that all these things that are Sheni should become a Sheni Lituma. And that was like one of the top. Something that becomes a Sheni, it's enough to even make Kodesh, Heklish, Shlishi. Puzzle of the posel is a Truma. So it makes the Hekdish a Shlishi, or the Hekdish can go. It could become a 4 or a 3, right? So Truma, it gets puzzled because Truma, once it hits, the Truma doesn't make a Revi, it's Shlishi Truma. But if it touches Kachim, it could make it. So it says puzzle the Truma, right? In Chulin, no problem. So it makes it puzzle. Vilna. Talk about the.
I did not see. I did not see.
Exactly what does it contain.
Okay.
Mitsuyan. He's Asol Lagat B'ma. The Truma. Tzvul Yom. Asol Lagat B'ma. The Truma. Tzvul Yom. And we actually, when it comes to we're talking about Parshas Para, Maseches Para now. By Para Aduma, we specifically wanted it to be a Tzvul Yom. And maybe a Tzvul Yom. And we were not kosher because they so Shkai. Yeah. Let's go back to the Mishnah.
Up here?
Yeah. Let's go back to the Mishnah.
Up here? It
just
doesn't bring down
this is Gemachi over here.
So that's what it says. It says
yeah. Add it. Son of a Levakro from. No, they just made 18 gezeras about the Truma.
Guys, bro.
Shkai God. Or Meister, the Alma Shai. Seems like a wild like position to take. You know? Damn it. Why does he like think that? Here. Meister Ani is Chulin. But Meister Levi is Kach. Say Marabini. It's talking about Chulin, Shechta Be'emachad. And Rabbi Shimon says it's Maseh Shrita ze Maleh. And so the Gemara says that the reason is that it was no blood came out, but if blood did come out, you couldn't eat it with dirty hands. Why? Right? And so the Gemara says, how do you know we're dealing with Chulin here? How do we know we're dealing with Chulin here? And they prove it in Kachin. Chaya. This is Chaya. Floyd Stein. Whenever I mention Chaya, I bring him. Floyd.
They no.
בגלל ששחיטה של עוף וברווז. And then time. You can't be talking about kachim. It is talking about. There's no 3ers. He says kesef meiser, meaning really mayor of a position for.
Makes sense.
It's talking about no blends before you ate them, according to the Rabban. Okay. What does it mean, maskif law? Asked is good, but better.
Ah.
It's good. You know, like if you tokef me, not mincing them. He's coming. Baravua of Nachman. From why? That machlokas between the Rabbanan and Rebbe Meir, the Chachamim and Rebbe Meir. They only argued with Yadimizer, but touching, maybe they don't have, maybe they agree that you don't need to have touching. How do we know Tani from the fact that it teaches? I mean, the Tani in our Mishnah, who's the tour makes a three-er. How do we know a tour makes a three-er in Meiser? It's Azir. Oh, Abba b'mayim. So the kind of Ezra thought it was going to keep, just like too lazy to go to the mikvah. Ezra's not in the base of mikdash. You need mikvah. Kachim, real kachim, the base of mikdash, mikvah. No drawn water. Lo yocham b'meiser when it comes to water. Lo yocham b'meiser when it comes to we're going to get in like the opinion of the Rabbanan. So how do we diet on every single nif'al? Ochla, it's a very nuanced difference. Someone who's in a dam, but Ella, how do we know? In lo askin that when who says that we're not, this man did something. Mazes sapi. Says the kasapi for low. Behadagina the riba almar. Shkayach behadagina the riba almar. Shkayach, you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime. Amazing. So the Savre is, for me kodem. You can't feel unheld that you're talking about a old. And so our held that you're talking about a old. And so our case implies that you could be makingable from one word. And so it's infants makingable from. Yeah, infants makingable from. Yeah. No, the other there is. So shout out to
In the making.
Of course. Kistic that up. I looked it up in Jastra. Gone. The Kasabi Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Our Mishnah, who's the author, about eating, but we need here something that gives his brisa. Yeah, use that. Yeah, I even know. This is brisa. Yeah, use that. Yeah, I even know. Tanya. Zalman, where? The same place that I showed you last time. Do. It's the little bet this time. It says Tosefta. The Tosefta is a collection of brises at the end of the Masechta.
Okay.
So Tosfos was a Rishon Rebbe around that time also. And you know who else was around that time? Abu de Shmuel.
Wow.
I think Shmuel's father. Shmuel.
Wow.
I think Shmuel's father. Okay. I talk Lashon Hara all day. Litoelas. and still, and it's right. It's Hanakama is no techila for chulin. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Omer Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Meir, Rabbi Norai. What else do we call Rabbi Meir? Two more names. Acherim and Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. Oh, nice. Rabbi Elazar ben Ach. Laser ben Ach. Son of Ach. Nice. Laser, son of Ach. Nice, excellent. Over here. And there's my pen. So, Rabbi Meir, that's what Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar in the name of Rabbi Meir says. Maybe in the name of Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, ay, 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 Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, ay, ay, Bar Yochai.
And it's on Daf
Yeah,
log.
and it's on that blog.
No way.
Yeah.
Yes, way. Tomorrow, that's true. We also were talking about Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar.
Wow. It's
And so, but I'll tell you why it's not Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. I have a great raya, Rivka. It's because it says Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. It says Rabbi Shimon himself. It's got to be a different Rabbi Shimon. It's not Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar saying it in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar now. That's the raya. That so. Yeah, but the goose says that it's Sarich Lomar in the name of Rabbi Shimon.
Wow.
And you want to hear something? You want to hear what complicates it? Who's the one who says that it's not in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, but it's the name of Rabbi Shimon? The Rashba. The Rashba, the Rishon. Not Rashba, the Tana. It says here, Rashba. Rashba. So he says in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there's Yadayim for Chullin, and there's Shnios for Truma, and so the hands can become tours for Truma. Techilos the Chulin in the Truma low. So we say, yeah, they could become oneers for Chulin, for mundane, but not oneers for Truma. Hachiga amar techilos av lechulin. They could be oneers even for Chulin. And Hacha says Rashi Masnisin, our Mishnah, the Dayik, our Mishnah which infers. The Mishnah says that if no blood came out, it wouldn't be Huchshar to Mekabel Tumah. But if there was blood, then it would be Huchshar. Huchsharu Pasul Behu Nigias Yadayim. That it would be a problem if you touch it with your hands, Misuavos, that are stink hands. Lav Biadayim Shnios, Kamar, not with Yadayim Shnios, with hands that are tours. It's saying Ela Biadayim Techilos, with oneers. We're not talking about making it. We're saying there is no shlishi in Chulin, right? There's no shlishi in Chulin. There's only a shlishi in Truma. Shalom Aleichem, Jack Berlin. Just give my love to Ellie. So his hands being oneers. Oh, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar has that. Because Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that it could be a oner. Hands could be a oner for Chulin and make Chulin a tour. So we're dealing with hands that are a oner. Ask the Gemara, wait a second. Says the Gemara, yes, actually. Hands can be oners. Techilas. Tanya, because it says in a brisa, but this brisa is actually a titnan, and this is in Yadam, Mesechus Yadayim, the third footnote. Titnan is actually, I don't know if this is in Yadayim. It says Hichnes Yadov Lebai Samenuga. You stick your hand into a house that has saras in it. His hands become oner. So we're talking about our Mishnah. We say, why does it matter the status of his hands? If the hands are a 2, they can't make a 3 in Chulin. So the Gemara had some talks about that. But then another answer was that really it's talking about the hands are a 1. And the hands are a 1 can make it 2 in Chulin. What's the question of the Gemara? Whoever heard of such a thing, hands becoming a case, if you would have bothered to check Maseches Yadayim, you would have seen, with no uncertainty, that Rabbi Akiva says Rishons. V'chachamim omrim yad of shnios. No, the Chachamim say his hands become tours. That's actually how we paskin. That the hands become tours. The Kuli Alma, everyone holds. V'hacha b'gezera. Here's the gezera d'Rabbanan. The hands atu gufo. Here to make that gezera about the hands coming fligi.
Is there any different in status for a Kohen?
No, not in this case. Mar savar yadav kegufo. Shavinu. So one guy holds that Chazal made his hands like the rest of his body. Rabbis made the hands impure rabbinically. They made it with the regular hand status. Regular hand status is tours, shneos. So the Gemara wanted to say, the lookmaker Rabbi Akiva say that it's Rabbi Akiva. The Amar Yad of Techilos says his hands could become a water, and our Mishnah is talking about where it makes a difference if the blood comes out, if the blood doesn't. Establish it to Rabbi Akiva like that. Dilma made, and it's not even that clear. Dilma Kikama Rabbi Akiva. Maybe when Rabbi Akiva said that, Hani Mili B'Truma V'Kachim. That's only talking about Truma and Kachim that are very machmir. But for Chulin, but when it comes to mundane shnios, they would become tours. V'liavinami shnios, and okay, let them be shnios. The Hashem Inan Lele Rabbi Akiva that we heard from Rabbi Akiva, the Amar Sheni Ozesh Shlishi B'Chulin, Tanan, because it says, Bo Bayom, on that day, so great. On that day, so great, when. On that day, Rabbi Akiva made a drasha. He said, Eretz comes and lands inside of it. Kol asher b'zaycha yitameh. Everything that's inside of it becomes tameh. He says, on that very day, Rabbi Akiva made the following drasha. Yitameh, l'tameh achei, rib tameh lo nemer. It doesn't say that it becomes impure. It says yitameh the tumah. Sherozesh lishi b'chulin. Rabbi Akiva wants to learn from here that the twoer makes a threer, even in chulin. And for the Gemara, dilma ani mili b'tumah deraisa v'derbanan loy. Maybe these things are only talking about a deraisa thing, deraisa tumah, but derabanan not. I'm going right there one line. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Hoshia. Says Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Hoshia, Hacha b'chulin shenazu al taros kodesh. A third opinion that what's our Mishnah talking about? It's talking about chulin. But the person's very from, and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna have the chulin, and I'm gonna treat it like it's kodesh, and I'm gonna wash my hands and do all the things they need to do for kachim for Titania, because it says in a baraisa, but the Titania is actually another Titanan. Titania Rabbi Eliezer over Eliezer says ha'ochel ochel rishon, so you eat a oner food. If you eat a one or two or what about threer?
Say it to her.
Nope, threer. That was not a trick question. It says, ochel rishon v'sheni sheni. It says if you eat a one or a twoer, you're a twoer. And if you eat a threer, you're a twoer. Zalman. According to Rabbi Yoshua, that is, if you eat a three, you're a twoer.
Only by my opinion.
As in what? Yeah, that's actually the right opinion. It just wasn't the right answer to the question that I asked, because I asked about Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. But it's good. It's good. Yeah! Pen! Phone almost fell down. Wait a second. Over Rishon Sheni is shady. Shady Shlishi. If you eat twoers, you're a threer. Sheni L'Kodesh. So there is Sheni L'Kodesh, but there's no Sheni L'Truma. B'chulin shenazu al taras truma in al taras hektish lo. So we're saying that this is talking about that you ate the chulin. What's the case where it mattered whether or not the blood came out, whether or not you could have the animal with dirty hands. So we're trying to figure out the cases. One is this, this is a special type of chulin. It was chulin that you bought with kesef meiser. It has elevated status. And we talked about it. The other case was that, no, we're talking about a very rare case where the hands can actually become a rishon. And the case where the hand that make a rishon, stick the hands into a leprosy house, according to Rabbi Akiva.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the second answer. That's what we're going to have to see Rashi on today. And then the third answer that we're not even going to get into now, I just wanted to, is Rabbi Eliezer, or Rabbi Hoshea. He says that it's a special type of chulin because. Okay, let's see Rashi. Tomorrow we're gonna come to that opinion of Rabbi Hoshea. We're not talking about hands that are two, which is what we thought we were talking about. Techilos with hands that are one, which is a very, very rare situation that only holds in Ella b'yadayim techilos for the kameim and in the future thing. I would have said before shir today. Never had hands of wonder. What are these hands wonders? Umas nizin the Amar Yadayim Techilos. Our mission is talking about the wonder hands. Uzkuru Aflios Rishonim L'Chulin. Even if you go Rishon Chulin, after Rishon like Rishon Ben Elazar. It says name Rishon Yochai. The Danya Ein Adayim Techilos L'Chulin. Right. The Tanakama says it mentions hands becoming wonders. Oh, you mean, for example, what? First, there's number wonder. Lo huzguru ella chulin. They didn't mention except for chulin, because in chulin, lo avi ella shnios. And chulin can only become a tour. Ella, but aval, the goose says, le'inyan truma. When it comes to Truma Vikajem, Shav Inu Techilos, we say they're tours. So we call them Techilas. According to that, according to Tanakam, according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. He says, V'yadayim shnios, kegon stam yadayim was grew eitel Truma la'aso shlishi. Stam yadayim become two. And it makes it puzzle. So what's the case? Hirchnis yadav. That's where I asked, is there a case? Hands becoming, yes, there is a case. According to Rabbi Akiva. Hirchnis yadav kishenatlan v'tiaran mituma stam yadayim. The guy wants such thing as, if you only stick your hands in, it's called bia v'miktsas. What's bia v'miktsas? It's entering a little, right? And it's lo shmei bia. Bia v'miktsas, lo shmei bia. The ishma bia, if it is called entering, havi kol guvo tamei, the whole body would be tamei. Ubai tevila, it would need to go to the mikvah. Mishum v'aba el abayis, and somebody comes to the house. Ve'anan yadayim hu dimitaminan. And shmei bia. And then the machlokas is, when they make the gezeras, it's like the regular gezerah, all hand gezeras, if the hands become tours. Or is it a special hand gezerah that if you stick them in the hands, only the hands into a leprosy bias, your hands become waters. And the reason the both of the answers is because of gezerah of the hands, because of the whole body. And they argue in the gezerah itself. Which tumah did make an answer? Yadav gazru. They made the gezerah on the hands or about it. You go into a body, if you go, so the leper, right? Leper is a father of tumah, and they become a rishon, right? So, as the rishon deoraisa, Rashi says, it would be a rishon. So too, if you go in with your whole hands become a rishon. Ovi. And then, but that's where Rabbi Akiva says, don't get in Baalma, hand gezerah, It's like when I know more about this stuff, but I'm going to try. It has to do with video games, right? when you're playing those old video games, the way that they did it is that they would you're going past a certain
Into different thresholds.
yeah, well, it could be a few different manifestations, right? It could be a mushroom, it could be a star, the early Mario games, right?
Right.
It could be a bad guy, right? And it could fill it up, and they talk about that stuff. Anyways, if it gets set up, it could be one of those things,
Right.
right? That's exactly what the Rabbanan are saying. I come into this world and be a Rishon. Sorry, Rabbi Akiva, it can't happen. Rabbi Akiva says, no, this specific Gezerah, it could be.
Wow.
And so that's, I hope that was a good, he says it's a glitch by Adam.
Wow.
And the Chacham say, what glitch? You know? What glitch? It's not gonna,
It's a built-in.
it's not gonna
It's
get
a hitch.
I should never say a glitch in the tire. It's just
Right.
an example that in that way it comes something that you don't have anywhere else. Or a star or a fire-breathing thing.
Right.
There is no option. Sometimes even like it could be wings in some of the Marios,
Right.
but it could only be what they allow to come in. Maker of the game, aka Abishter, put in the game Yadayim. The Rabbanan, when they were making the halacha, they didn't put an option for hands being oneers. For Rabbi Akiva held, no, what's the difference, says Rashi? You immediately enter them into the Tzaras house, International House of Tzaras. Velo nagu b'shum davar. Didn't touch anything. Avi shnios machmas bia. They would just become shnios because they went in. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Akiva, it could be the anonymous author. Veruba distima. The majority of anonymous is according to Rabbi Akiva. So it actually works to set this up according to Rabbi Akiva. Ali Bey. The Stam Mishnah, because Stam Mishnah is Rabbi Meir. The Stam Sifra, and if it's Stam Sifra, which is a medrash, Rabbi Yehuda, but Devarim, because we're dealing with a pasuk in Devarim here. Bikulu, and both Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda were a liba to Rabbi Akiva. By the way, very interesting, we're talking about Rabbi Akiva during Sfira, because he lost 24,000 students. You cannot even imagine what a tragedy. And I have 5, now I'm gonna waste my time. I have 24,000, I have 5. Rabbi Akiva was like, all right, gotta keep moving.
Wow.
And Rabbi Meir was one of the students. Rabbi Yehuda was another one. V'kevan demash deshamal Rabbi Akiva. Since we heard that according to Rabbi Akiva, the Amar Yadav Techilos, that he says that the hands could become one. Uki lemas nisin b'didei. Say that Rabbi Akiva is the author of our Mishnah, right? Say that it's Rabbi Akiva. Enters the Gemara. Say that it's Rabbi Akiva. Hane mile b'truman. Hands are like his body. It's Rabbi Akiva. And Marsav, the Tanakama, holds the hands are like regular hands. That's what the Rabbanan established it. In our Mishnah, what's the problem? We say that Sheni doesn't make a shlishi, so who cares if his hands are dirty or not? We say, oh, it's Rabbi Akiva who says that a hand could become a oneer and make the chulin a tour. And so that would make sense. Say that Rabbi Akiva, maybe when Rabbi Akiva was saying that, he was only talking about making it first to make it Tame, Truma, and Kachim that are very machmir, very serious. But when it comes to chulin, there would be shnios, there would be tours and not do anything, even according to Rabbi Akiva. Okay, let them be tours, but according to Rabbi Akiva, a tour can make it 3. I wish that we can get to the Tanan. But this is the question that we will think about until. After all, Rabbi Akiva holds that hands. Another opinion that we're dealing with chulin, shenasu altaras meiser, altaras hektish. You're talking about altaras on the wall. That is clock to wish to one and all goodbye. Farewell. So long. Day. Zahiras. Mevili day. Zerizas. Mevili day. Nikias. Mevili day. תחייה זה משום שנזכה מכבד את התורה. מכבד את התורה. ומכבדה. Mechab Eretz Abrios. Umechab Shane. Goodbye until we meet again.